Macmillan Audio presents The God of Endings, written by Jacqueline Holland, read by Saskia Maarleveld. Suffer us not to mock ourselves with falsehood. Teach us to care and not to care. Teach us to sit still, even among these rocks. T.S. Eliot, Ash Wednesday. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. Who is this darkening my plans with his ignorant words? Stand up like a man and brace yourself. I will ask questions, and you give the answers. Where were you when I founded the earth? Tell me if you know so much. Do you know who determined its dimensions, or who stretched the measuring line across it? On what were its bases sunk, or who laid the cornerstone when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Job, verse 38, lines 1 through 7. Complete Jewish Bible. 1. When I was a child, the dead were all around us. Cemeteries were not common in the early years of the 1830s. Instead, small, shambling family graveyards butted up against barns, or sprung up like pale mushrooms at the edges of pastures, in the yards of church and school and meeting house, until eventually you could look out across the village, see all those gravestones like crooked teeth in a mouth, and wonder who the place really belonged to, the huddled and transient living, or the persistent dead. Many folks found this proximity to death and its souvenirs discomforting, but my father was the first gravestone carver in the village of Stratton, New York, which meant that the distillation of death and grief into beauty was our family business. Death, to me, was tied inextricably to cherished things, to craftsmanship and poetry, to my father and to the beautiful things he made, and I couldn't help but feel some tenderness for all of it. Even all these years later, I can still see those gravestones vividly. Drizzle gray slabs of slate, smoothly planed and cool to the touch, grainy sandstone in its striated shades of red and brown and buttercream, soapstone soft enough to etch with a thumbnail, yet somehow able to resist the assaults of time and the elements. Letters and symbols, crosses and cherub wings, and forlorn-looking skulls chiseled delicately into the surfaces. Beveled edges, smooth and sharp beneath the pads of my small, inquiring fingers. Like the works of his hands, my father also remains vivid. When I remember him, he is working, always working, at his craft. His eyes and hands search a great heft of rock for its secret seams, and then, with wedge and mallet, he splits it open as one might split an orange. With great focus, he hammers at his chisels, patiently lifting away slow, stubborn ribbons of schist like potato peels to carve the rounded tympanums. With pick and file, he etches and sands and then blows the glittering mica dust into the air. Noticing me, his watchful daughter, standing in the doorway, he looks up and smiles, but his hands are ever diligent. They glide along surfaces, feeling their progress. When I was very young, I would go about with bits of stone in my mouth, enjoying the feel of the rough grain against my tongue. I have few memories of my mother, who died giving birth to a baby who died with her. But one of the memories I have is the sudden indignity of her finger in my mouth, swiveling roughly, fishing a piece of rock from it. Then she, too, became a gravestone, creamy yellow, reticulated by thread-thin veins of iron, embellished along the side panels with fine scrolls and rosettes, and with a centerpiece inscribed, "Loving Mother," all of which I remember in greater detail than I remember.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?